back of this one, Andrew, top 3 in the championship, the top 3 on our grid. This is going to be tasty. Joe Holmes, Anwar Barrul-Smith and Adam Wright. Your top 3. Fantastic stuff.
Other names to mention, apologies if I miss any of them out. Barney, Bobby in the mechanics team, Sam Dimolo as well.
Yep.
Still one of my favourite moments of the year, seeing the progress of the Dimolos in Super 1, which is a stream that you can go back and watch here on Alpha Live. Club 100 continuing to support young drivers throughout the sport.
Yep. Just one final thing, club100.co.uk if you want to find out about 2021. And also a shout out, we have to always give a shout out to the marshals, enable us to go racing in conditions that you wouldn't necessarily choose to sit out in at this time of year, but they are here enabling us to go racing whilst also complying with all of the regulations that we have to comply with to make this happen.
If this is the last race of the year or not, this is going to be a belter. You have got the top 3 in the championship all at the front of the field. It should be very, very close. There's been a couple of kart changes, I believe. Matt Wildman has made a kart change. Are we ready to go then here in this heavyweight A final?
Matt Wildman looked a bit out of grid position.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if he managed to find it.
I think he was. That's because of the late change to his kart, but I think he has found the spot now. Here we go then for the heavyweight A final, which could decide the championship. Joe Holmes goes from pole position, and it looks like Adam Wright's got P2. Yes, he has.
Great
so
start.
Anwar Barrul-Smith was not on the lights there and has got work to do. He's now back down into P3. 12 minutes for this A final. They head into the hairpin for the first time. The top 3 have already broken away as Jordan Salter is trying to fight off the likes of Jack Bolton. I think Matt Hale was in there. Sean Briley is out. Sean Briley out of this race, has spun on hairpin 1. That is his race.
Full start.
Full start, okay. First one we've seen of the day.
It is. Yes, it is. It is a full start. Interesting. Very interesting. Well,
Sean Briley gets away with one. I do wonder, was there a problem on the anti-pole side of the grid?
it is weird, isn't it?
It's not like Anwar to miss the lights there. Did the pole side of the grid go too early?
It does seem, although it was, yeah, I mean, okay, firstly, I doubt it was just for Sean Briley tagging the inside of hairpin 1. That's not going to be.
Yeah, it wasn't for.
It's not going to be that.
We didn't reach the minimum number of carts off at turn 1 to need a restart.
Secondly, we saw no particular incident. Looking out the window, I can see no particular incident. Granted, I can't see down at stadium because the start gantry from the comms position, but David on the camera position there hasn't reported anything. So, yeah, interesting.
I'm just going to put in a dark horse there. I've mentioned him already a couple of times on the stream. David Longman has a good record round this place.
He does, and he's not in too shabby a position, is he? Starting from 6th on this grid.
David for a podium?
It's a potential. Shout out as well to Jordan Salter, who's got himself well up the grid. He's in 4th. The next Class 2 runner is Alex Pritchard in 7th. So good run from Salter, and indeed Pritchard. Lewis Reid as well in 9th, 2nd in the Class 2 points coming into today. Just 2 positions ahead of points leader in the Class 2 field of Miguel Hall, albeit Miguel does have a fair old points advantage in the championship. So I think the real place to focus attention is on the Class 1 field. Interesting setup here, but we are good for a start.
Away we go then. So Joe Holmes takes it from P1 again. Adam Wright challenges Anwar Barrul-Smith for P2 again and gets it.
Carbon copy.
Carbon copy of the first start then. I think it was on the first time around. Pole side of the grid going too soon. But it's Holmes from Wright, Barrul-Smith, your top 3. Jack Bolton up to P4. There's someone, I think it's Harrison Darville, has been in the water. Sean Briley has survived. Hairpin 1 this time, as Matt Hale will get a track limit warning for that one, running wide on the exit of hairpin number 1. But it's Holmes from Wright, Barrul-Smith, Bolton. Alex Pritchard is up to P5. The 77 porridge is definitely working today. He's had a belting day and will lead C2 at the end of lap number 1.
Indeed he will. Joe Holmes, though, look at the gap he's got over the likes of Wright and Barrul-Smith. 0.6 of a second after 1 lap around Rye House that Joe Holmes leads by. Adam Wright 2nd, Anwar Barrul-Smith, Jack Bolton, Alex Pritchard and Lewis Reid are your top 6.
Contact warning for the number 40, which is Steve Bosley. There's water on the track as drivers are running deep. Lenny Wood has had a problem through Stadium there and has gone to the bottom of the field. Oh, big incident
Paul
there.
Goddard, and that's Jonathan Elliott, and there's clearly water on the track here. That's Matt Hale on the grass, and I didn't catch who the other driver was. I think it
Matt Wildman.
might have been Matt Wildman indeed, yeah. So something there going on into hairpin 1.
I think, and once again, that's all because I saw Harrison Darville wide on lap number 1. Pulls water onto the circuit. The leaders are the first ones to hit that water. Thankfully, nothing too drastic happened there. There's yellow flags on the start gantry indicating for drivers to, well, need to be careful through Stadium and towards hairpin. Oh, Adam Wright's off! Adam Wright crashes and is out of the A final. What a mistake! He crashes out of 2nd place.
Well, now, was that unaided, or was he battling with Anwar?
I think that was water. That was a mistake. That was a pure driving mistake from Adam Wright, running wide. And he is out of this race. And how big could that be in his championship bid? Takeout penalty for Richard Allen, number 26.
Well, that's not related, because he's much further down the order in 11th place. So what happened, unless Adam Wright had another incident that left him in the clutches of Richard Allen, and maybe he ran wide, and who knows, but that was extremely unusual from Adam Wright, and he went off big time.
Time's a long way down as well. They're in the 48s and 49s at the moment. And look at Bolton. Bolton's tiptoeing his way through that portion of the circuit. The run into hairpin 1 is really treacherous at the moment. Alex Pritchard alongside Jack Bolton here. This is for 3rd place. The last spot on the overall podium. Pritchard to the inside. It's going to take 3rd place. What a sterling run from Alex Pritchard. Miguel Hall not too far behind. This Lewis Ridd coming through. Something's happened to David Longman. I'm afraid I've put the cursors on him. He's a long way down the order in 22nd place. Adam Wright is out. Well, he's running again, but is a lap down.
Through. Oh, that must be particularly galling to allow through those that he was battling with not a couple of laps beforehand. Andrew, I'm just looking out the window. It's not obvious to me. I mean, there's a few splashes that have come back onto the racing line heading towards hairpin 1, and that's probably enough for as Lewis Ridd was battling away. Just in the background, you could see there with Oliver Moss. We're looking slightly further up the road. Adam Wright is fair play to Adam Wright. He's doing the best that he can to allow everyone through. This is Jack Bolton versus Miguel Hall over 4th place. Miguel Hall, well, he's fine from a Class 2 championship perspective at the moment, but he'd love to get another round within Class 2, as Oliver Moss has executed a successful pass on Lewis Ridd.
I'm just looking through the results, Howard.
Yeah.
Has Alex Pritchard ever had an overall podium in a final? The answer is no. Alex Pritchard is not just on for the C2 win here, he is on for it. Oh, Miguel Hall's out!
Wow, big. Oh,
and he's hurt.
Got some issues.
He's hurt. That's off at Stadium.
Yeah,
and you don't have a small off there if he's hit the water and gone off. I hope Miguel's okay. Jack Bolton's in trouble as well. They were together out on circuit.
Issue into Stadium of some kind there. Then the initial diagnosis assessment of what that might have been.
They were racing for 4th and 5th positions.
Yeah.
Now, if Miguel Hall is needing attention, we could see a nullification of the race here. We did have an incident in the E60 race some 8 weeks or so ago where the race was put under full course yellow and a safety cart to treat for an issue down at Stadium. We stay green for now. We're just trying to look through the gloom to see is Miguel Hall running again. I can't see any yellow flags down into sector number 1, so I think he's okay. I think he's got going again, but he looked quite winded there.
Yeah, he was just clutching his ribs for a second as well. That was what worried me, but unfortunately can't see anything out of the window because we're looking through, well, tinted windows into the dark at a corner that has a start gantry obscuring the view, and someone's got car headlights on with that part of the track.
Time's back to somewhat normal. Joe Holmes is just on a 45.083. The lead gap is 1.4 seconds. But the way this circuit is racing, anything can happen. And all it takes is for one mistake, one misplaced wheel. Really does get a little bit like Monte Carlo at this stage, which some people have described this as the nearest F1 equivalent on the British karting scene. Oh, Sean Briley up the inside there of Richard Allen, aggressive over the curbs. They're all behind Lewis Ridd at the moment. This is the battle over 5th place.
Drivers who've had some kind of drama: Harrison Darville, Lenny Wood, Jack Bolton, Miguel Hall, Adam Wright, Chris Gristwood. We haven't mentioned. He's off the back of the field. He's had an issue. He's retired.
Look at Nick Trafford up in 10th place.
Yeah.
What a run from Nick.
I don't think Miguel Hall is still circulating. He's not crossed the line for a good while yet, so I think he has retired at the side of the track. Hopefully he is fundamentally okay and just a bit winded from all of that. This is Richard Allen in his pursuit of Lewis Ridd. The 39 of Ridd and the 26 of Allen.
The lead gap is going down.
It is going down.
And it's just gone down by 1/10.5. 1.3 seconds is the gap between Holmes and Burrell Smith. The two championship contenders tied on points through, good news, Hall walked away. That's what we're being told. But Holmes and Burrell Smith equal on points through the round so far. And remember, at the start of the day, the gap between them was 3 points. This could all come down to this very race. They could be tied on points after this one, if the result goes a certain way.
Just a bit of housekeeping. If Miguel Hall, well, he is retired from this race. Good to hear that he's fundamentally okay. His drop score to fall back on is a 12th place.
Okay, that's not too bad then. 3 minutes 20 to go. Holmes just holding the lead at the moment at just over a second.
That's the gap. You could just see it visually there. Holmes in the number 1, Burrell Smith in the number 3. Two former champions, one of them a reigning champion.
Oliver Moss having a good run as well, is currently in 4th place.
Yeah, been driving well today. Got the heat win, of course, right back in heat number 1, I want to say.
Miguel Hall gave an okay thumbs up to David Whitehouse down at Stadium, which is the best news that I think we've received all day. Miguel is okay. Obviously a little bit hurt for racing reasons. Obviously he didn't want to finish racing here today at Rye House in that way.
Bump and pass penalty for Stephen Downs. There's going to be 4 positions added to it wherever he finishes, currently running in 13th place.
Gap is down to 1.088 seconds. He's the 2 fastest drivers out on circuit.
Last time we were streaming around, Andrew, we queued up the heavyweight A final as being a real humdinger of a race, and then I don't want to suggest that it was entertaining, but we were shocked at how fast Joe Holmes was.
Yep.
We just pulled away from the rest of the field, and actually, although it was a highly entertaining race in terms of battles, the battle for the lead never really came to fruition. Here, this is looking like it's a lot more even between Holmes and Burrell Smith, as Burrell Smith reels him in by another 8 100ths.
It's a 10th here, it's a 10th there.
But is there enough time for Burrell Smith to reel this in? Will traffic come into play? We've had plenty of disruption to this race. Are there some drivers who are a lap down?
Don't think it will. The nearest driver up the road to them will be Lenny Wood, who's a good 15-16 seconds up the road to him. That shouldn't occur.
Jeff Lamb has just got by Nick Trafford to get himself up into the top 10. David Longman has just got past Dave Pethers up into 14th place. As this is the battle between the likes of Jeff Lamb and Nick Trafford and Stephen Downs, who has the penalty to be applied, and he's got Dave Pethers and Steve Lindley for company now.
Steve Lindley's having a great race here. He's up to 12th place, I think, now. As Anwar Burrell Smith goes quicker again. The gap is down to less than 0.9. And if he could just get in the slipstream, it's not the biggest circuit for a slipstream effect, but you can pull one in down the pit straight. There they are. There's going to be 2 more laps. 2 more laps then as, Steve Lindley's off.
And I was about to say how good a drive he'd had from the back, having got promoted from the B final.
Yeah.
He had a good drive till then, but unfortunately, as we're on to the last lap, here is Joe Holmes, your leader. To me, he has enough in hand over Anwar Burrell Smith, but that's not for lack of trying on Burrell Smith's part, because he's just reeled him in at the best part of a 10th again. These two Make no mistake, right on the limit. 2 of the best in Club 100 machinery.
Joe Holmes has been pushed hard this season. I think this has been the biggest challenge he's had in a good few years. No disrespect to anybody else. Anwar Barul Smith has pushed him all the way, especially since the return to racing at Shennington a number of months ago. But today, here at Rye House, Joe Holmes is #1 again. He wins round 8 of the Club 100 Heavyweight Sprint Championship for 2020. Anwar Barul Smith is a very close second, and Alex Pritchard takes his first ever podium in Club 100 Sprints finals. He finishes in 3rd, a brilliant 3rd, and wins in C2. 4th for Oliver Moss, 5th Sean Briley, 6th for Jordan Salter. Lewis Ridd holds on for 7th and a podium in C2. Richard Allen is 8th but has penalties. Steve Bosley 9th. Dave Longman recovers to 10th. 11th for Jeff Lamb. 12th for Nick Trafford, who may have taken the win in super heavyweight there with the penalties to be applied to Allen. Alex Pritchard's like, I got P3. He can't believe it. What a drive from the number 77. The rest of the order looked like this. Nick Trafford 12th, Stephen Downs 13th, Matt Wildman 14th, Bill Taylor in 15th from the B final. That's an impressive drive. Dave Pethers in 16th, Jonathan Elliott in 17th. Matt Hale has been great today. He finishes P18. 19th for Harrison Darville. Jack Bolton wraps out the top 20. Steve Lindley 21st. We were all into drivers who'd had problems in that race. Steve Lindley 21st, Lenny Wood 22nd, Paul Goddard 23rd, and then 3 retirements: Miguel Hall, Adam Wright, and unfortunately on the first lap as well, we didn't mention it, Chris Christwood.